Welcome to Sunrise Extra on this Monday. Hope you had a good weekend. So we are talking about wearing your masks outdoors at sporting events or anything else.
Well, really,
concerts. Yeah.
In Oregon, it doesn't matter what the event is. If you're in a spot where you can't socially distance, you're supposed to wear your mask still, even outdoors. I think a lot of people have forgotten that.
Yeah, strictest in the nation. I mean, Washington has one, but it's
over
dependent on
people,
crowd size.
Right. But Oregon's, there is no crowd number designated to that mandate. It's basically if you're outside and you can't socially distance from other people, you should have a mask on. And now the question is, should that be going away? Should it already have gone away? Or should at the very least they set up some metrics to let us know when it will go away?
Yeah.
We asked this question to our viewers this morning on the Sunrise TV show. This number is pretty much held steady for the last 3 hours. Do you think Oregon should still have an outdoor mask mandate? Nearly 78% of our viewers saying no, the state should not.
So what are the state officials saying as far as why
They're not saying
they're
anything yet.
continuing?
Governor Brown has said, well, we'll look in a couple months at the metrics for masks at all, like grocery stores, anywhere. But they haven't addressed outdoor events yet.
One of our colleagues, Pat Doris, last week did a piece on this, and he spoke to a healthcare official, and she was saying, you know what, there's a public trust thing that happens if you just do it indefinitely and you never give anybody metrics and specifics about what is it going to take to ease these restrictions. There she is, or actually that's not the one I was thinking of, I don't think. But anyway, we do have a bite. Let's just listen to this.
Well, from what I can see, when it comes to wearing masks outdoors, the evidence suggests if someone is vaccinated and they're in an outdoor setting, unless it's literally standing room only, there's a very low risk of COVID transmission.
So yeah, in that story, they have found very few, if any, COVID cases that can be linked to a local outdoor event. So they say, well, what, and I think that's true. It's like at some point people are going to be sick of this. They're like, oh, show us the data or the numbers to prove that this is working, especially for outdoor events. So yeah, people are bugging the state about it.
Has anybody here been to a big outdoor event, masked or otherwise?
Big. Someone was just asking me about this over the weekend. I went back to Philadelphia in August, visited my mom with my sons. We went to a Boston Red Sox game, drove from Philadelphia up to Boston to go see a Red Sox game. There were no masks outside. Obviously that's a different state, but there was a no mask situation at a sold out.
And it wasn't required.
Well, we were also in, remember that we were, I think nationally, we were in kind of a period where we're like, maybe we're done. And then all of a sudden it was very quickly like, no, we're not done.
Yeah. This was in July where we were starting to come back to that, the summer was actually one of our worst times. That's when hospitals got crowded here in Oregon to the point where, everyone was hitting the brakes on reopening. So anyways, no, I have not been to, I've been to a few indoor events, like at the Moda Center just last week for a kid's show. But even at our son's soccer games this fall, there was a requirement to wear masks if you're on the sidelines. Just they asked us all to follow the state guidelines. If you can't socially distance from the other parents and other friends, please wear a mask. I can tell you that for the most part, that was not followed. I mean, some people did for sure, but I don't even know what the percentage was. 82%. Never had a mask on.
Well, it's funny, you see footage from Ducks games or Beavers games and wide, shots over the crowd, and there's just as many people not wearing them as there are wearing them.
And actually, I did go to the amphitheater for an Alanis Morissette concert. I forgot about that.
Oh my gosh!
Man, I've been busy.
Here, I forget.
The amphitheater.
Not the amphitheater. What do they call the deal up there in Ridgefield?
Yeah.
The Clark County Amphitheater.
Yeah,
Isn't that what it is?
Oh,
Event center.
Totally.
Okay. I stand uncorrected.
Just picturing the gorge.
So lots of people weighing in. Yeah. Penny Baxter says, I work outside and I am so over it. Nicholas Ackerman says, why did we get vaccinated? And then Natalie Glenn says, simple, get vaccinated. The people complaining about masks are also complaining about the vaccine.
Well,
when I went to that concert, I thought to myself, you know what? You don't have to wear the mask, obviously, if you're eating or drinking. And I kind of made sure I was eating and drinking the whole night. Yeah. And I really was. So there you go. I mean, that's the one way around it when you're in those stands. If you're eating and drinking, of course, you can't wear a mask.
Yeah. I haven't been to like any soccer games or
The
Anything
only
else.
quote unquote event, and it wasn't even an event, is that I took Patrick, our 4-year-old, to Oaks Park this summer. That's the only like really busy outdoor crowded place. Well, that's not true, because when we were in Sun River, we were in the swimming pool.
yeah.
When
That
people,
an
I
event?
mean,
Busy.
Yeah.
It was busy, but I just,
are people still wearing masks when you're out running on trails and things of that nature?
I do see people wearing like, you know,
Or they
the
can
buff,
pull it up,
you know, the
yeah.
little
Okay.
thing. But I mean, frankly, that's nice. Like in the summer when it's dusty and stuff, and you're on the trails, it's kind of nice to throw that thing on anyway. But I'm going to throw this out there. This is just, you're walking around the grocery store in December, and you know, most people like they go to the store when they have the cold or the flu,
Yes.
and they don't care. I might keep wearing a mask just because I don't want to get
Right.
get that crap you have
Yeah.
anyway, and I like they do it in other countries all the time.
Yeah.
Like, what's the I'm
Well, the grocery
I am
store is
not
different,
saying
yeah.
that, and indoors
Yeah.
is different,
Yeah.
right? I'm not like.
You're
There's
not
a part of me like I will
You're
go along
like,
with the crowd because I don't like wearing it either.
You know, somebody
hate
else
it.
I don't like
picking up
wearing
on
it
that,
either, yeah.
Jennifer Taft says, I agree with this, and I'm very careful. I do wear a mask. I'm 3 times vaccinated. She told us earlier she got her booster. She said, I would continue at outdoor events like concerts, but she's immunocompromised, and that's my responsibility, not everyone else's.
Sure.
Appreciate that for
take.
sure.
Good
Sure.
take. And also, I mean, think about it. Like at outdoor concerts, what are you doing? You're screaming and you're yelling and you're singing and you're blasting particles into the air. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
We're done with that, aren't we? We're done.
I can't even imagine, if we still have this outdoor mask mandate in place, how far away are we from removing the indoor
Well,
mask mandate?
That's what I thought was weird. So today we did the Santa.
what are we doing right here? What's our guidance on
Right.
this?
I mean, we're sitting,
Well, because we know each other. We've been vaccinated. We had to.
we're kind of in each other's bubbles.
I wouldn't be here, nor would you, if you
Yeah.
hadn't gotten vaccinated.
Right,
They wouldn't
true.
let you back in the studio. So I mean,
Right.
it's different. We all know where each other stands, and I think there's a bit of a trust factor in place.
Willie Huey weighing in this morning, he says, I feel like the outdoor mask mandate is about not making unvaccinated people, quote, feel bad. The numbers say outdoor without mask is safe when vaxxed, but Oregon doesn't want to single out the unvaxxed. Maybe he's just positing that as a possibility. He says, that's all I got. It doesn't make sense. I've taken 14 flights this year. Oregon is the odd duck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. We are definitely the strictest state. And even for indoor mask mandates, too. And it is like we had a story about, taking your kid to go see Santa or something this Christmas.
I mean, that's one thing we absolutely have not done yet. Like, I value the fact that we still have been able to have childcare.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be responsible for taking my kid to OMSI, getting a bug there, and then bringing. Never mind COVID. All the rigmarole that you have to go through
Just when there's
just to
plain
prove
sick.
that you
Yeah.
don't have COVID.
Yeah, it is a
like
pain.
it is. If you're a parent of a young child who's not vaccinated yet, you know the pain. You've been through that. We've been through this like a half a dozen times already in the last year and a half. Like it's.
Like, say more about that.
You got to take a day off to go get your 18-month-old COVID tested, to stick a swab up her nose and get her
which
tested,
is
and which
horrible.
horrible because
Yeah.
the kid doesn't want that. They don't know what's going
No.
on. They just know that a doctor's coming to stick them again with something that they don't want to. And we've done this like 4 times with Daphne just so that we could.
Then you got to keep them out of school until
they
you
got-
get the results,
Right,
and then plus
we've
they're
had-
sick.
We've had a couple COVID cases at school, and they have done an amazing job somehow of just making sure that they lock down immediately. And wow, I mean, what an example of how to best mitigate a really lousy situation. So I'm proud of them, and I, as a parent, we as parents, like, we take our responsibility of not contributing to the problem seriously. So like I mean, Patrick's been asking about, well, the Children's Museum is no longer, which is a killer.
Yeah.
It's just, hopefully, that's a whole other story. But
OMSI has reopened their little toddler room.
We're not going there. We're not going like, the Disney on Ice thing. I'm sure that like he'd be interested in that, but we're not.
We
like,
went to
we're
that
just-
this
We're
weekend.
just not gonna do it right now
Yeah.
until, and it sucks
Yeah, it's hard.
because we don't have that outlet, I mean, but.
Absolutely.
I knew that, once you bring up this question, I knew a lot of people would be interested, and there are more people watching at this hour of the day anyway than we normally see. The masks issue is always a hot button topic. Miriam chimes in with this question: if you have to be vaccinated, or you have to have a negative test to enter a large indoor event like a Blazers game, for example, why are you still required to wear a mask indoors? We've already proven that everyone in there has either been vaccinated or has.
Have we? Is that legit?
Well,
Is
they
that
have
legit?
to- I mean,
Well,
it's
are you
kind
asking
of
if people
on
are
the
cheating on the
system.
tests?
Cheating on the tests? How good is this? I mean, I haven't been to a Blazer game, so I don't know. Like, how, like, are they like?
You have to upload an image of your vaccination card
Okay,
and
so
then
it's
check
pretty-
a honesty box that says
An
all
honesty
of
box.
Well,
you lost me there. You lost me there.
It's a photo
because
of the
nobody's
card.
honest.
Honesty.
Yeah. Yeah, you lost me there. So if you're following, like,
I'll put it this way: you can get into that event as easily as an underage person can get into a bar with an ID. You know what I mean?
there
I'm
you
sure
go.
there are ways around the
Done.
system. I don't know what they
Done.
are.
So
but I'm
therefore,
sure it can happen.
therefore, it's not really. I mean, there's a lot of honor system there.
Right.
And we know how honorable and dishonorable people are.
Yeah.
So that's all.
Shireen Miller Simmons says, as a child care provider, thank you. We would have to shut down for everyone if someone gets COVID. So she's
Yeah.
just giving you a shout out.
I mean, it is. For those of you that work in those settings, you are a godsend. For those of us that still like are
Trying to work
trying
too,
to
yeah.
navigate this, it is. You know, we are in this together.
Yep.
Yep.
We got to get through it.
Lori is asking, do the stats show that we have more or less COVID cases around the country or compared to other states? I believe she means. With these strict COVID rules in place, I think that is something the news should look into and could look into. I mean, historically, since the beginning of the pandemic, Oregon and Washington for that matter, but certainly Oregon has been among the bottom as far as case rates
Per
are concerned.
capita.
And that's a good place to be, isn't it?
Boy, Becky says, why would we even consider when we are once again in a COVID uptick? I think she's looking ahead to the holidays and wondering if there will be one. And then all caps, she says, we cannot rip the Band-Aid too soon. People misunderstand the message and we are going to be in a giant mess again.
I think for outdoors, I think it's time to let it go, as Elsa says, in Oregon.
Out
You
the
know,
work,
we
yeah.
are, yeah. But it's just so weird. Like, you know, we have the indoor and then outdoor mask mandates. And then plus you have to, you know, for a lot of things for Timbers games, you have to show your vaccination card, right? Or a negative test. Plus wear a mask. And then we've got, you know, take your kid to go see Santa. You don't have to be vaccinated. Santa's vaccinated. And you can take your mask off when you sit on his lap and take the photo, which I thought was just, it just doesn't go along
not
with
consistent.
Oregon's
Yeah.
strictness.
Yeah.
And so it was surprising to me. Like, I'm taking my daughter to the Nutcracker for the first time, and she's 4, so she can't get a vaccine. You have to be 5. And everyone that goes inside the Keller Auditorium has to be vaccinated or a negative test. Plus, you have to wear your mask the whole time you're inside. You're not eating at the Nutcracker, so there is no opportunity to take it off. But now, 3 days before we go, I haven't told her this yet because she's only had 1 COVID test, and it was a traumatic experience. She has to have a COVID test, and we have to show the results at the door.
Even for the kids that are. Oh.
Every single person has to have a test or a vaccination to get inside the Keller. It's just like, man, for a 4-year-old.
But let's go back to your other point. Is it time to take the mask mandate away from the outdoor
I
arenas?
think so.
And you know what?
Or just show us the numbers. Like, you've got to show us.
I'm for that idea. And one thing that's been proven, once we go there, it's not like we can't go back. I mean, we've done that throughout the pandemic, right? We've loosened some restrictions, and then we brought some restrictions back. So if the state was to say, you know what, starting next Friday, no masks are required outdoors anymore, let's just see how
And
it
that
goes.
would at least show that, okay, we are following like this, you know.
Right. Yeah,
if
that's the
anything
reason
gets
why
above
they're
this
doing it.
level, then this has to happen. If it falls below, then fine.
Right.
But yeah.
That's a communication thing from the state. There definitely needs to be clearer.
It can't just be
communication
arbitrary.
Because it's just percolating. Like, people have questions. And Catherine says, I am not going to soccer games or basketball games at UP, University of Portland, even vaccinated and in a mask. Somebody else up here said, Paige says this whole thing is ridiculous, all caps. And then Kristen was saying, agree with Chris, honesty box BS.
Yeah, it's not a foolproof system for sure.
Brian
It's the
Ruck
best
on
system they
YouTube
have.
says Oregon should just do it the same as Washington State is doing and have a number of people. Okay, if it's over 500 and you guys are sitting right next to each other, yeah, wear a mask when you're not eating.
Sheila says my whole family, kids, brothers, sisters, my 100-year-old mom, in-laws, all grandkids have been vaccinated, so we are gathering. We'll wear a mask indoors for quite a while just to be safe. What a nice big family you have, though.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, obviously, as we get further into the winter months, where case rates go. I mean, we did have that spike when you think we wouldn't back in the summer, but I think that maybe is because a lot of people had their guards down. We didn't have the vaccination numbers back then in early parts of summer that we do now.
Right. We were probably like what, 60?
Right.
60% was the threshold, but now we're getting up on like 70,
The one thing that
75.
No, higher than that. It's like almost 80.
Okay,
Jessica
well, that-
Fawcett says, get rid of the stupid outdoor mask mandate. If you feel like you need to wear it outdoors, then do it. It shouldn't be required, especially since the likelihood of catching COVID outside is so minimal. It's a good policy.
there you have it.
Wear it if you want to.
Yeah, no, it's interesting that it came back into the news cycle again today. And when we first saw the story, the headline was like, Oregon is one of only 2 states. Well, wait a minute. The other states.
Then we did a little
Washington.
research. We're like, oh, it's
So
Washington.
it is our states, my friends.
Yep.
Oregon and Southwest Washington. We're the only ones living in this outdoor mask mandated world. The question now people have is for how long? And that's really where we need to hear from state officials, because the best they've given us so far is we're not sure. We're going to have OSHA and we're going to have the Oregon Health Authority look into the numbers, and we may have an answer for you in the next couple of months.
I was reading
The dead of
online,
winter.
right? For the indoor mask mandate, they say that it could go through the spring of 2022. So there are a lot of things that are up in the air that are going to be,
Right.
Where does Oregon rank in terms of indoor mask mandates? Are we also among some of the most stringent, or is that a uniform? Or is that more uniform across the U.S.?
Yeah, I don't want
Has
to say I don't
anybody-
think there's anything much uniform about it. I feel like so many states have, have
It's a checkerboard.
See
looser.
if I can find
Yeah.
it real
I
quick.
think a year ago at this time, we all thought 2020 would be remembered as the year of COVID, right? So it's no longer the year of COVID, right? We have the years of COVID. And in fact,
6
2021 is the larger year of COVID. Looking at it, we're going to start and end the year dealing with this.
So 6, Oregon and Washington, Hawaii, Illinois, Nevada, and New Mexico are the states that require masks in indoor public
We
places.
still keep hearing about breakthrough cases with people that are vaccinated, and that still does give you a little bit of pause. I mean, what? Another elite athlete just got out of the hospital. Minnesota Viking lineman was in the hospital last week with COVID, was dual vaccinated.
Because it's still going around. We still have 73,000 daily cases
But you're saying
because we only have, a certain percentage of the population.
And they play
vaccinated.
outside. Granted, they work out inside, but
Yeah.
they're.
You're saying not only did he get it, he got very sick from it.
He was in the hospital. The guy was, in theory, is the pinnacle of human physique
Right.
and health, right? Is a professional athlete.
Well, on the outside, that's what it appears anyway.
True.
I mean, the one thing that has been proven with the vaccination, if
It
you are
helps.
vaccinated, you definitely reduce your chances of getting seriously ill or hospitalized if you do
Or
catch
dying.
COVID.
Yeah.
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 I mean, that's for sure. There's no way you can, unless you just don't believe the scientific facts that are being put in front of you, that thing is absolutely for sure. And now that guy is the exception, I'd say, at this point to the rule.
Sure.
If you get vaccinated and you get COVID, there's a strong likelihood that you're going to be okay without going to the hospital.
But I guess where I'm going with that is that it shows that if you want to be safer, you throw on an additional layer of precaution, which would be the indoor and outdoor mask wearing. That's I mean, we're just talking logic. I'm not getting into like.
Yeah.
I hear you, Chris.
Anything else?
I hear you, buddy. No, you're
We're
right.
so
yeah.
tired of this.
No,
We're
Thomas-
so tired of talking about
Thomas
this.
Chidwick is
Everyone's
moving
tired.
to
Look at the viewers
Texas.
chiming in.
He's actually moving to Texas where there are no mandates for customers and employees. Sherilyn Michael says masks are probably going to be here for our daily life going forward. Jennifer Taft, yep, breakthrough cases are an issue as well, as we are hitting a point where if people don't get boosters, we're headed into freaky places again. Did you listen to that interview with Dr. Fauci last week on the Times?
I didn't.
podcast, and he was just saying the booster, we shouldn't, it's like the flu shot now. So we need, immunity wanes, you need another dose of it. And the more people we can get vaccinated, the less the virus is going to be circulating.
Right.
And the more likely it does circulate to vaccinated people, and that's why you have those breakthrough cases, because it is going around. And we may have another variant that's even worse if we don't clamp down on it more.
Right. I mean, it's crazy. I remember when this whole thing started, I interviewed a PSU professor known as the virus hunter. And, he was like, evolutionarily, the virus doesn't want to kill you. It wants a host. And it's amazing the way it morphs and ebbs and flows. And you're exactly right. You're getting vaccinated to try and reduce the number of hosts that it can infect. But it is something else.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, on a biological level, it just fascinates me, the way that it morphs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Well-
pretty confident that we'll never go. I think that we'll never walk into a grocery store as long as we live and not see at least one person wearing a mask from here on out. I mean,
Well,
masks
even
are
you
just
saw
part of
that
our lives,
anyway
I
from
think, moving
people
forward.
like coming out of heart surgery or
Right.
cancer patients.
People
or
are going to be just very careful about their health with
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. All right, you guys, we will keep you updated on what, if anything, happens, at least with the outdoor mask mandate. Woo, look how windy it is over at Newport.
That is.
All right, you guys, rain coming in
Wind
later
warning
today.
at the coast. Yeah.
We'll see you
70 mile an
tomorrow.
hour gusts that are possible today.
7-0.
Yeah, maybe.